A very interesting story. Please read it completely. You will get a lifelong lesson, inshallah. My wife and I went to a jeweler's shop to buy a gold ring. After looking at a few rings, my wife liked one. After paying the price, just as I turned to leave, I met a dignified man who seemed to know me, but I had forgotten him. I only vaguely remembered that I had met him sometime in the past. This gentleman warmly hugged me and asked with questioning eyes, "Son, you seem to be trying to recognize me, aren't you?" I said, "I'm sorry, your face looks familiar, but I can't recall when we met." He smiled a little and said, "My name is Uqbal, but people call me Baraba, Big Brother. A few years ago, you came to our house with your family in Gulbug. Maybe now you remember." Hearing this, I was stunned. My attitude instantly became very respectful, and I said spontaneously, "I remember everything now, Baraba, I remember everything." I asked, "Are you alone or has Auntie also come?" Baraba replied, "Yes, Auntie is here and the other brothers too. They are sitting there, you can meet them." I looked to the side and saw Auntie sitting in a veil and the brothers were standing nearby, smiling at me. I told my wife to greet Auntie, and later I would introduce her. My wife went and greeted Auntie. Auntie very lovingly placed her hand on my wife's head and blessed her. I introduced my wife and said, "This is my wife and this is my 3-year-old son." Auntie was very happy and signaled to her son with her eyes, who slipped a 1,000 rupee note into my son's pocket. I insisted that this wasn't right, but Auntie didn't agree. After some small talk, I asked Auntie the reason for her visit. Auntie said, "Allah has blessed my daughter with a son, so we came to buy some gifts for her and her family." I asked, "Which daughter, Auntie? All your daughters were married except the one whose proposal we came with. And you people told us back then that there were no plans for marriage for the next 5 to 10 years. I was surprised at that time, calling us to your house for a proposal, and then saying there were no plans for 5 or 10 years seemed wrong to me." Auntie looked a little shocked, but being a wise woman, she quickly understood something and asked, "Who told you this?" I said, "Father said that." Auntie replied, "No, that wasn't the case. The reality was something else, but your father kept the truth from you." I became very curious. How could my father lie to us? He had never spoken a lie. Auntie told her sons to leave us alone, and I also asked my wife to give me some time and take the child for some snacks. Auntie said, "Son, the day you and your family came to our house for my daughter's proposal, I refused the proposal myself that very day, which perhaps your parents never told you. You are an educated and successful person. I knew you would keep my daughter happy. But when creating a new relationship, we don't just look at the boy, we look at the entire family, because in the future, we will maintain contact. So, we evaluate whether the family can sustain the relationship in the long run. Life has ups and downs, and in difficult times, we need our own people. We don't make relations with people who are with us in good times but leave us when times get tough. So that day, I clearly refused your parents. Maybe they didn't tell you the truth." Hearing Auntie's words, I became more restless and said, "Auntie, we siblings love each other dearly, share happiness and sorrow equally. We've never had complaints among us. If you don't mind, I'm 100% sure you misjudged our family." Auntie sighed and said, "Son, you're still very young. What I can see you can't even imagine. My judgment is never wrong." I asked her to explain. Auntie said, "For every proposal for my daughter, I had some conditions. Whoever came to see my daughter had to bring all their sons and their wives. Everyone should wear their best clothes. The women should wear all their jewelry. If each family member had their own car, they should come in their own cars." These conditions seemed strange. Some people thought we were testing financial status, but that wasn't the case. When your family came, I first saw your brother's cars. They were expensive. while your father's car wasn't as costly as your brother's cars. Then I looked at your father's clothes. Your brother's outfits were far more expensive, and the same with their shoes. When I saw your mother's jewelry, it was very little, while your sisters-in-law were adorned with gold. When I asked who cooks at home, your sisters-in-law said they all cook separately, and your sister cooks for your parents. When I asked who drops the kids at school, I learned that your brothers themselves drop their kids, while your father drops your sister at college. Seeing and hearing this saddened me. Your father sacrificed his life to educate his children and make them successful, but when the time came, the children preferred their own lives instead of supporting their father. Your father must have faced hunger, walked miles, endured hardship just to feed you and clothe you well, often wearing the same clothes for years. But when it was time for the children to return the favor, they forgot their father. Your brothers bought new cars for themselves but didn't think why their father still drives the old car, why he doesn't have new clothes or shoes, though they could afford it. That day, I told your father everything. We didn't need wealth or status. We needed family members who value relationships above themselves, who lift us when we fall instead of pushing us down. Wealth and status don't last forever, but real relationships do. One wrong relationship can destroy a lifetime of happiness, while the right one can turn every sorrow into joy. After saying this, Auntie left, and my parents' faces appeared before my eyes. My car was better than my father's car. My clothes were better than his. My house was more decorated than theirs. My wife wore gold bangles I bought her, while my mother's jewelry had been sold for my wedding. I lived a comfortable life, but my father was still bearing family responsibilities. I had just bought a gold ring for my wife, but why didn't I think of my mother who sold her jewelry for me? I felt ashamed that I prioritized myself over my parents who gave me everything, while I left them with nothing. Yet they never complained. My parents were great yesterday and are great today. But I was a failure yesterday, and I remain one today.